1-800-449-8255. The incredibly accurate Clark the Shark Show is on the air, and you are here. You are where you belong, exactly in the universe. Whenever you stumble upon the Clark the Shark Show, baby, where today I'm going to talk about maybe not one of the world's greatest bands that ever existed, but an interesting band to me anyway. Yours truly, your humble DJ, MC, sharkraphone guy. It's not a microphone, it's a sharkraphone. And it was given to me, of course, by Hush Bimbo and Sean Hannity and Mark R. Levin, the great one. They all drove to my house and gave me the solid gold EIB sharkraphone. And they said it was because I deserved it. I don't know, or something like that. But anyway, sure, you guys, I do deserve it. When I'm talking about Herman's Hermits, the very best of Herman's Hermits, you know I deserve that golden EIB sharkraphone, baby, for this musical review. Come on. Now this so-called band, or, Brit pop group from back in the 60s, very interesting how they're kind of like England's version of the Monkees. There was the Beatles, the Fab Four, coming up out of the Casbah and, the Cavern and Hamburg, Germany, And, of course, the sad story where they replaced their original drummer, Pete Best, who they had for 2 years. That's an eternity back in the 60s, especially the early 60s. And of course, Pete Best and his mother were the managers of the Ruddles. I don't even want to call them the Beatles. They're the Ruddles. And you guys, there would not be a Beatles today without Pete Best and his mother managing the band. I can't stress that enough or say that enough. And then they fired Pete Best, and they hired this drummer named Lars Ulrich, the guy with the big nose. He came in to the band because he wasn't good looking and he wouldn't get all the girls, all the birds, if you will. Ron Nasty and Dirk McQuickley wanted Pete Best hella out of the band so they could have an ugly, unattractive guy with a big nose back there on drums named Lars Ulrich. That's not his real name, but he drums about like Lars Ulrich, so that's what I fucking call him. And of course, Dirk McQuickley infamously always says, well, he was such a powerhouse of a drummer back there. Yeah, he was such a powerhouse, Dirk. Lars Ulrich. And of course, even sadder and weirder, Lars Ulrich's son, Zach Ulrich, later was the drummer for The Who, replacing Kenny Jones, a great drummer, and Simon Phillips, another great drummer. Don't ask me why The Who, someone very intelligent like Pete Townsend, why he would want to drum, or why he would want the drummer, Lars Ulrich's son, Zach Ulrich, drumming with The Who. I'll never understand it, you guys. I'm sorry for losing focus and getting off track and off base, but I'm very angry at The Who for drumming with Zach Ulrich, one of the fucking worst drummers in history. About the only drummer worse than Zach is his dad, Lars Ulrich, who, of course, infamously, with the Ruddles, replaced Pete Best. But I'm not talking about any of that or any of them. I'm going to talk about the very best of Herman's Hermits, a band thrown together, I think. I could be wrong, over in England by Mickey Most and, ushered into the studio to produce top 20 hits, and baby, that's what they did. They rarely wrote any of their own original songs. I think the one guy in the band, Hopwood, wrote a few. I don't think Peter Noon ever fucking wrote anything, you guys, and I'm pretty sure neither did any of these other guys in this group. But in a lot of ways, I hate Herman's Hermits, because to me, this band is like the Foo Fighters of the 60s. I'm not kidding, you guys. And Peter Noon is like the Dave Grohl. But, it's okay to fucking hate Dave Grohl and the douche fighters. But there's something about my brain that doesn't want me hating Peter Noon and Herman's Hermits, even though Pete Townsend and The Who hated this band. They toured with them, opening for them, of course, infamously in 1967 on an arena tour in the United States. And a lot of those Herman's Hermits fans happened to be in the half-empty arena watching The Who. And they accidentally stumbled upon one of the greatest bands that ever existed. And The Who were really never an opening act, you guys. They were headlining right from the beginning, back in England and everywhere. But to get around America in 1967, I think before The Who sell out, and after A Quick One, that album, 1966, The Who opened for Herman's Hermits, smashing their gear on stage with smoke bombs going off. And that pop, crowd, the crowd into pop, were exposed to The Who. And a lot of those people left pop and they went rock. And that's right where hard rock and heavy metal really was born and began. The Who opening for Herman's Hermits. You guys, I'm not kidding. A lot of girls just went crazy, and guys too. It was amazing. And of course, after that, The Who are playing Woodstock and Monterey Pop and all these big tours and festivals, and the rest, baby, is history. Now, they went on to just be one of the greatest bands of all time in the world, but that didn't happen for Herman's Hermits. Now, Herman never adjusted to hard rock like The Who did. They could have. Probably in like 1970, these guys should have hooked up with a whole new producer and reinvented their sound like many bands did. 1968, 69, 70, 71. Including The Who themselves, who totally reinvented their band with Who's Next, which sounded nothing like Tommy or any of The Who before it. You could really make the case and argument that Live at Leeds by The Who, 1970, was where The Who said, we are a fucking hard-ass, hard-rocking machine that doesn't sound like Tommy or The Who sell out anymore. And Herman's Hermits never made the bridge. They never branched out and went hard rock, at least not enough. And that's sad in the 70s, because they could have been like the Sweet or, maybe the Raspberries or something like that, just rocking. And it would have been fucking killer. But I think Herman's Hermits were like, all Britpop sound, we can't mess with that. They were bound and determined to keep that squeaky clean, 1960s image intact and going forever. Kind of like the Monkees, a little different. But, to me, Clark the Shark, Herman's Hermits are just way too squeaky clean, and they're kind of like Paul Revere and the Raiders. They don't rock hard like Paul Revere and the Raiders do. No way, baby. But there is something interesting about all these amazing songs. There definitely is with Herman. Even though they don't write them, they probably have nothing to do with them. I'm Into Something Good. Come on, you guys all know that one. The very best of Herman's Hermits, you guys. And I'm Into Something Good. It's like the good Lord made that song specially for Herman, Goffin King, who wrote many songs for the Monkees and others, kind of like the Ashford and Simpson of their day. Silhouettes, which was a hit in the 50s and was a hit for Herman in the 60s. And Baby, Baby, Can't You Hear My Heartbeat? Carter Lewis, not written by Herman. Another awesome song. Wonderful World, Leaning on the Lamppost. Good stuff, you guys. Pop, kind of lame, kitschy, Brit, mid-60s garbage, but I love it. Me, Clark the Shark, I understand why bands were trying to get on the Billboard charts and make that money or whatever they were doing. I don't even know if Herman made a lot of money. They probably did, or maybe they didn't. I don't know, but A Must to Avoid is an awesome song. I don't even care who wrote it. Sloan Berry. What a song, A Must to Avoid. You gotta hear that song. You gotta go buy this album, people, right now, just for that one song alone. And No Milk Today, Graham Goldman. What an incredible melody, atmospheric idea of rock and pop. No Milk Today is awesome. Years May Come, Years May Go. Pop Fishman. Of course, Pop. This is Pop, you guys. Awesome. I'm Henry VIII, I Am. Very annoying. Murray Weston. Horrible song. I hate I'm Henry VIII, I Am. But it's undeniable and, a big hit for Herman. I would have loved to have heard Herman go heavy metal in the 70s and completely destroy that song and smash their gear with smoking amps and the world would have been more correct. There's a kind of hush all over the world. Jeff Stevens, Les Reed. Oh, you guys know what a fucking great song that is. There's a kind of hush all over Shark's World tonight. What a song. Almost sounds like a David Bowie classic, you guys. Amazing. And Herman's version of Dandy by Ray Davies and the Kinks is good, you guys. I gotta say it. I want to hate their version. I even kind of want to hate the Kinks version. I don't like that song Dandy, but every time I hear it, I'm tapping my foot, snapping my fingers. It's one of those songs. Dandy. I like both versions, Herman's and the Kinks. Sunshine Girl, Stevens Carter. Good stuff. Something's Happening. Fred Murray Weston. That's a great song, you guys. And of course, Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter. Peacock, arranged by John Paul Jones. Wow. And believe me, John Paul Jones is and was a genius. Before Zeppelin, he was really busy as like a producer, arranger, songwriter, studio hack, studio rat, hanging around with Mickey Most and Glenn Johns and, you name it, at Olympic or wherever. I'm not even sure if that's true, but I know John Paul Jones. What a fucking genius from Led Zeppelin. Basically wrote the song Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter. The arrangement is so awesome. My sentimental friend. Yeah, I'll take it. Oh, You Pretty Things, the David Bowie cover. Herman does a good job of it. It's no Bowie version, people. Not even close, but it's interesting. This whole album, even though they didn't write it for the most part and probably had not much to do with it, just like the Monkees, they were Johnny on the spot in the right place at the right time. Herman's Hermits, you guys. If you want to celebrate British, UK beat pop, early, mid to late 60s, they never really built a psychedelic sound enough or a hard rocking sound. Later on, I sure wish they would have, and I wish they did, but they didn't. They kept it pop. They kept it squeaky clean, unlike Paul Revere and the Raiders, and to a degree, unlike the Monkees and others, you guys. A lot of bands wanted to rock hard in 1968, 69, 1970, and totally revamp and change their sound around. But unfortunately, Herman really wasn't one of them. Now, they did show up in the 70s with long hair and all that, but it just didn't rock hard enough for me, Clark the Shark. I wish it would have. Now, this album, the very best of Herman's Hermits, this project is lacking one great, incredible song called Listen People. It's not on the album. I don't see it anywhere here, and it's probably the greatest Herman's Hermits song. It's right there with I'm Into Something Good and Can't You Hear My Heart Beat and No Milk Today. Let me tell you, you guys, hear the song Listen People by Herman's Hermits. And that's the direction that I wish this band would have gone in the late 60s, early 70s. That would have been so killer to have songs like that, but then rock them out even harder and heavier with some big guitars and who knows, or maybe just be a great melodic band in the 70s, like Bread or something like that. Or that would have been cool. I would have loved to seen them been like the Sweet or the Raspberries or David Bowie or something. That would have been fucking killer. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255 from the fabulous golden EIB Sharkerphone given to me by Hush Bimbo and Sean Hannity and the great one, Wayne Gretzky, who just turned 63 on January 26, just the other day, you guys. And the other great one, Mark Levin. None of those people are great. Come on, you guys. The great one is me, Clark the Shark, the Wolfman Jack on crack, the Sharkalama Ding Dong, the Sharkadoodle-Doo, right here, baby. Because I just gave you the only review you will ever want or ever need of Herman's Hermits, the very best of Herman's Hermits' greatest hits album. This is really a generic review of the band, you guys, not so much of this album. A band I hate and love at the same time. I'm completely confused and torn when thinking or talking about Herman's Hermits. And I know a lot of people think immediately about Peter Noone because he was on VH1 or MTV or whatever, or all these TV shows, or he plays all these casino, engagements or, what do they call that when you're at a casino? Your stay or whatever, what bands do. But he actually quit this band in 1971, and I don't think he's been back with them since, except for, here and there sporadically. So, I would have loved, like I said earlier, I would have loved to have seen Herman go heavy in the 70s. That would have been fucking awesome. I would have, you guys. Maybe they could have been like Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, or Susie Quattro, or something lame and cheesy like that, but it still would have been funny and fucking killer. Paul Revere and the Raiders sorta tried to do that, but they got mixed up wearing those outfits and the whole bit. I don't know, you guys. I like to see bands get rid of the outfits, go on stage shirtless, smashing their gear, kicking over their drums, lighting shit on fire and fucking shit up, and getting heavy and loud and crazy like the Who. Not like Blake Douchebag or that 90s shit. But I would have loved to have seen Herman do that. And they didn't, you guys. It's a damn shame, because they would have been fucking great at it. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, you guys, 1-800-449-8255. If you're a young person, go out and buy this album, The Very Best of Herman's Hermits, at Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. If you're just 20 right now in the year 2024, January, I think today's January 29, Monday, and you were born in 2004, I want you to get into Herman's Hermits, because you were born 3 years after 9/11, when Mohammed Atta and those other terrorists from Al-Qaeda, they flew those jets into our World Trade Center, Twin Towers, and they destroyed it. And you don't even remember it. You weren't even born yet. You're the one I want to go get into Herman's Hermits tonight and buy all their music. And listen to it. Fucking check it out. You will learn about songwriting and arranging, if nothing else. And you tell them you heard it on the Clark the Shark Show. 1-800-449-8255. The Wolfman Jack on crack. The incredible Dr. Shark. I want you to learn about the Who, the way they broke in America. It wasn't really at Monterey Pop. I believe it was because they opened for Herman. Blew him off the stage. And, I don't care about blowing people off the stage. That's not what I'm talking about. But accidentally, Herman's Hermits crowd saw Pete Townsend and the Who smashing their gear. And it changed people. Those were pop people, and they got converted into Who fanatics. And they stay to this very day with the Who. They forgot all about Herman, you guys. And who knows, from the Who, they went from there and got into Zeppelin and the Stones and Steve Miller Band and the Grateful Dead and the Eagles and all kinds of shit, For better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, take it or leave it, here on the Clark the Shark Show. Buy this music, you guys, Herman's Hermits, and I'm out of here. Peace.